Hello there! So today I want to try and do a little experiment with MFEs and electrical engines, transferring EU into MJ and seeing which cables and pipes are better than the others. So I've got a copper cable and a glass cable, and I'm going to try a few other pipes and things later on. Connect to these Redstone energy cells and seeing how much power is lost through the different cables to the MFE, yes, from the geothermal generator, which I'm going to be using lava. Bucket creates 20,000 EUs, whereas I'm going to use a cell capsule. It's supposed to give 160k EU. So I'm going to try the bucket first. As you can see, the MFE is gaining its power. And as you can see, it's managed to gain the whole 20k of the lava bucket through the copper cable. So now I'm going to try the glass cable. Whoops. I'm putting a bucket in here and see if it gains the exact same amount of power. And whilst it's charging, I'm going to put down my next bit of cable. So I'm going to put some copper cable on this one. As you can see, the engine is gaining power, but it's not actually using anything at the moment. If I put some glass cable on this one, again you can see that it is gaining, but it is still actually growing up to its 2k from its lava bucket. So if we flick the switch, let's see what happens. The copper cable has exploded. I guess because there's too much power running down it from the MFE to the electrical engine. So it has given a bit of power loss, but it's not really done a lot. Now this one, with the glass cable, the MFE is slowly using power. And yet the engine is not actually doing anything. It's just sat there, it's turned green, but it's not actually powering anything. So you are losing power by having nothing connected to the end of it and having it switched on, which I sometimes do, so that's a nice bit of information there. So next I'm going to try cable, but this time I'm going to use the lava void capsule, as it's called, because this is supposed to have 160k EU through geothermal. So let's see. Whilst that's charging, I'm going to put the pipes onto the end of it. So let's see, a wooden one, and then a stone one, and I'm going to connect it up to one of my redstone energy cells, like so. Now, as you can see, this is empty at the moment. My engine shouldn't be doing anything because it's not actually switched on. My MFE is okay, it's not quite made it up to full charge. How odd. This is gaining power, but it's not using power. So I'm a bit confused there, because it does say 160k there. But anyway, jump up. So I've reset the MFE, and I'm going to try it again, just to see if anything different happens. Okay, so this one has made it to 20k, which again is still quite odd because it's supposed to have made it to 160, but yeah, not too sure about that one. And then I've gone and set up another one on this side, which is almost there. And again, it was just one cell in there. And it's made it to, 19872. Why is it doing that? Okay, so next I've got the engines, which I'll turn on. And we'll see how much of the 20k gets turned into MJs. And you can see it's running it down. And it should be putting power in here. Yes. Very slowly. So I got one set up exactly the same, but it had 2 glass cables rather than just one. But it doesn't appear to have made much of a difference. And that should come up with pretty much the same amount of power in the energy cell. And whilst those two are running, now I'll set up this next one with a wooden and gold conduit onto an energy cell. Oh, it's needed a block update. Right, so that one's now connected. I'll put the lever down. And I'll put the cell in. So that's regaining power and using it up, hopefully, in order to charge this. Yes, good stuff. So let's have a look at this one now, see if this one's stopped. Yep, pretty much out of power. Can't do much else. And it's got 6,206 MJs. And this one, which has now stopped, which didn't quite get the 20k EU in here, has got 6,161 MJs. So not much loss, but it's still not great. So basically, it doesn't matter which of the cables you use from generator down, whether it's glass or copper, it still pretty much gives you the same amount of power both ways. So then this one, which we have used a golden conduit, has currently got 2,600, and we're hoping to get 6,000 or just over, and power's still doing quite well there. Slowly ticking down. Now I did kind of cheat because I had actually already set this up and switched it all on before I had put the energy cell into the generator. So I'm going to set it up again, but this time I'm going to do it the other way around and start with the energy in the generator into the MFV and wait until it gets up to the 20k and then turn on the engine. Come on, stupid block updates. There we go. To make the MJs and see if it makes any difference. So as you can see, it stopped at its 19872 again. So I'll turn that on now and see if there's any difference between this one, which is almost, it's over 300, and it stopped. So that's now out of power. And this is 6,481 MJs, so it's nearly 300 more than the other one by using a golden instead of a stone conduit. So now we're going to see this one, which let's get up to the 20k thing, see if there's any difference at all between starting it before it's actually built the power up in the MFE. It's now finished and it's got 6,481, so it made no difference between how I started it, which is good. So, in conclusion with this, the gold is definitely better throughout the whole system than the stone conduit, however you're setting it up. Right, and finally we have these redstone conduits. I'll just put the cell in here, capsule, whatever. Now that seems to work just fine. Now there's something about hitting these with a wrench that's supposed to activate the power. So that's now on. But it doesn't really seem to make much difference because it was still gaining power in the blue anyway. Oops. Yeah. Was it blue and then change it to orange, and it still does things, and you know it doesn't seem to make much of a difference. So yeah, I'm not too sure about that whole issue people have, but I don't appear to have it. And as you can see, it's slowly gaining power. So 6,292, a little less than the golden conduit one. Now I may have messed it up playing with this pipe, so I'm going to quickly do it again over here. And whilst that's running, a quick rundown of everything that we've learned. So, lava buckets in geothermals give 20k, even through a copper or a glass cable. Well, 19,872, but yes. Roughly 20k from a lava bucket or capsule. I don't use that. It didn't matter whether it was the glass cable or the copper cable, it still worked exactly the same. We also learned that if you leave the motor on, the engine on, despite not being connected to anything, it would use power. So remember to turn them off. Yes? Next up, we learned that even with a copper cable connected to the engine, it made no difference whatsoever when it came to changing it through the engine to MJ's. We also learned quickly that wood you need in order to connect anything from engine to anything else. You cannot use a stone or a golden. So a wooden conductive pipe is simply a wooden transport pipe, which is two wood and a piece of glass with a bit of redstone. Quick and simple, and that needs to connect to anything in order to give power. Then the stone, you can find it. There it is. Stone conductive pipe. Again, it's just two stones, a piece of glass with the redstone, which makes stone conductive. Now make sure that it is stone and not cobblestone, because there isn't actually a cobblestone conductive. There's waterproof and there's general transport, but there is no conductive. It has to be stone. Okay. And that gives us roughly 6,200, 6,300, that kind of power. The glass cables are pretty quick and simple. You need 6 pieces of glass and some redstone and a diamond. You can also use some silver and you can get 6 instead of the 4. And then you can mix them with powders and the industrial diamond if you're on other mods, which is nice and simple. You can also mix them with the electrum ingots, which are difficult to make. which give you 8. So I suppose that's in a way quite a good cost. Next up, we had complete glass cables. Not that it made any difference. And we still had pretty much the same kind of power, 6,100, 6,200. Next up, we had the golden conductive pipe, which is again pretty simple. If I just beep, 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 beep. Golden conductive pipe, which is basically 2 pieces of gold and a piece of glass with the redstone. And that gave us an extra 2,500, 3,000 MJs compared to the stone conductives. And again, it didn't make much of a difference, whatever I started it. Finally, we have these redstone energy conduits. Redstone energy conduit, which are there. Okay, and with these you have to put them in a liquid transposer. The energy conduit empties. Energy conduit empties, which are electrons and some hardened glass. If I just clear that. Electrons and hardened glass, which makes empty energy conduits, which you then need to put in the liquid transposer with some molten redstone in order to make them, which seems like a lot of effort, really, for what they are. I mean, you're basically getting 6,321, which is pretty much the same as what you get for the golden conduits. Conductive pipes, even. So, all that effort for something that, I don't know, it looks pretty? I don't know. So I'm going to stick with these ones. So yes. So I hope I've taught somebody something there. It's certainly taught me a few things. And I'll see you in the next episode, if I have one. Bye!